29-22 is the final, and the final score, I suppose, is all that matters. The Minnesota Vikings improved to 4-1 after dispatching of the Bears, a magnificent 17-play drive at the end there to finally pull back ahead. The two-point conversion is pure, and 29-22 gives the Vikings the 4-1 record. The Bears head home at 2-3. And I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. This is Minnesota Vikings FANLine. 800-320-5326 is the phone number. As you heard it in the intro, the talkbacks are super easy. You hit the microphone on the free iHeartRadio app. Give us your best 30 seconds, and you'll actually hear one momentarily. But first, my co-host, as always, is Ron Johnson. We're going to hear his thoughts. But first, we're going to jump back to U.S. Bank Stadium. In the locker room is our own Tatum Everett with linebacker Jordan Hicks.
Thanks, guys. That's right. Jordan's here just giving a nice hug to Kirk Cousins after that win. You know, Kirk going out there in that final drive looking a little mobile, and he punches in from 1 yard out. What did you think of his performance out there?
He did a great job, man. He was methodical. That offense was methodical. Got the run game going. They did a good job marrying it with the pass game and the play action. And, you know, when the plays had to be made, they made them. And that's the type of complimentary football we want.
You could say the same thing about the defense today. Your guy, Cam Dantzler, coming up with that game-sealing play. What did you guys see in that moment?
That's what Cam does. I mean, Cam's been doing that in practice. He's been getting the ball out. He's been hunting the ball. And it shows up time and time again in the big moments. So, you know, he's playing really well and happy for him.
All right, you got Harrison Phillips standing right next to us.
Just drug him in.
It's a big-time game, though, for you guys because this is a Bears team that averages over 170 yards rushing. You guys kept him to 78. I mean, what does that say about this guy next to you, Harrison, and the effort up front?
It's what it's all about. You see, you know, they put a premium on trying to, you know, show us some different looks and, you know, climbing. And these guys are beasts up front, and that's what they do. That's what we expect from them, and they get it done over and over again.
It's really just two words, Jordan Hicks.
Get this dude out of here, man. Get this dude out of here.
Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you.
All right, guys, back up to you.
Thank you so much, Tatum. And back here in St. Louis Park in the 651 Carpet Studios, I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. Ron Johnson is with me, and we'll start here. Just simply enough, frustrating at times after a hot start, but each and every time over the last 3 games, when you absolutely needed points to close something out, the Vikings had figured it out once again and are now 4-1.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing last year was at times like that when it was, you know, you got to go down drive to win a game. It was a lot of like sitting on our hands as fans. You know, people just didn't know what was going to come of that offense. And now it's actually a comfort. Like you feel like, you know what, if they have a chance and Kirk Cousins has a chance to come down, Kevin O'Connell has a playbook that's going to work in these moments, and this defense is just good enough to keep them in these games. So I think this formula, it's going to, you know, get your heart medicine, get your, you know, whatever you need to do to stay calm. But this team can win games like this. And again, it doesn't matter at the end of the year what it looks like. If they go 11-6 or 12-5, and it's all like this, who cares? Like, this is what they want. This is what they signed up for. I think the defense is going to get better. You saw Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter today kind of come alive. So as this 3-4 defense gets figured out, as long as they do what they did, which is keep offenses under control, unlike the Philadelphia Eagles, this offense can win them games in the end.
Yeah, and this Vikings defense, by the way, for things that we will dig into throughout FANLine, they held the Bears, who were averaging 200 a game on the ground over their last 3 to just 78. So we love those positives. Vikings FANLine, 800-320-5326. Let's start with Travis in Blaine. Welcome to Vikings FANLine.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hi.
So quick question. Thielen, bad news Bears today. It seemed like, 9 targets and minimal amount of yards. Do you guys think he's hit the wall? Are we putting the ball in the right spots, throwing him the ball that many times? I mean, not many wide receivers over 32 years old that you're seeing make hay out of that many targets. So are we wasting them? And is that one of our problems?
All right, thanks, Travis. 7 targets, 4 receptions, just 27 yards. Most of the, let's just say the lion's share went the way of JJ. His 13 targets were good for 12 catches, $154.
But the last thing he said was he says that's a problem?
Or that we're wasting him?
So this is where I go with this.
So what's up with Thielen? How about that?
This is where I'll go with this. We talked about this earlier. How do you get JJ the ball? He was shut down early. Thielen and KJ Osborne had a good game. This is what this season's going to be like. If you think about Cooper Kupp with Odell Beckham and Van Jefferson, it's feast or famine. It's unfortunate, but it's going to be tough to get everybody a ton of balls in this type of offense. This offense right now is built for Justin Jefferson to do what he did today, which is 12 catches. This offense is built that when Justin Jefferson gets man-to-man, I don't care what you think, take advantage of a man-to-man opportunity. The Bears did it more than they probably should have. And then when you have the over routes and the other stuff and Justin Jefferson has over-the-top or bracket coverage, you're going to go underneath to Irv Smith or Adam Thielen. But it's just the way it's set. Like, that's just what the way this offense is set, unfortunately. No, I don't think they're wasting them. It just is what it is. And even in the red zone, though, a lot of these red zone calls and two-point conversion plays are these motion shifts and then the unders and then the tosses. Like, we don't want to line up and be predictable like we used to be, where in the red zone it was going to be four receivers spread out, probably trying to go to Adam Thielen if we can. That one he threw to Adam stepped on the back end line. They were going to him. So it's not like he's not going to him. It's not like he's not trying to. 7 targets is a lot. Justin Jefferson at one point I think was like 7 targets and 7 catches. So it's going to be one of those, like, it's going to be this all year. It's going to be feast or famine. One guy's going to kill it, and another guy's going to have to, taper it down. And when Justin Jefferson wasn't his day, he was fine with it. So we can't sit up and say we wasted Justin Jefferson on a game when the Eagles had him figured out. This is what it is. Now he's got the 12 or whatever, 154, and it was his day.
I actually wish he only had 6 targets today, as Kindle Vildor picked off one of Adam Thielen's targets. That was irritating. Back to the phone lines. Keegan from Jackson. Welcome to Vikings FANLine. Keegan.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Hey, I just want to say our run defense has been horrible first couple of games. Today was fabulous. Do you think us signing like a Ndamukong Suh or defensive lineman to shore that up so teams aren't depicting whether to take our pass game away or our run game away?
Okay. Thanks, Keegan. From a run defensive standpoint, again, just as I mentioned it before we took our first call there, for a team that has surrendered, I think coming into it, their lowest was $111. And for what they did today against a team, again, based on limited talent, limited ceiling at the quarterback position, they need that running game to work. Montgomery may not have been 100%. He's been nursing that ankle, but a good bounce back defensively, a positive, might you say, with that run defense.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about the Bears and what they've been. They've been they were a run team. They were the 3rd best run team in the NFL. They had gained 709 yards up to this point. So people can't say they're not good.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to jump back to the locker room here
Tatum.
because Tatum has Dalvin Tomlinson down there.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Dalvin and I were admiring our matching dunks. They're very cute. In fact, Dalvin probably wins the best fashion award today. He's got a briefcase, a lime green shirt on, and some Carhartt black coveralls. Overalls? What would you call them?
Overalls. I got to go with overalls.
Yes, it looks great. I mean, look good, feel good, play good. You guys did great today against the run. It's a team that averages over 178 yards a game. What made the difference today for this group?
Just attacking up front across the board, really. And we had to play as a unit to stop the run game so we could get to the pass and affect the quarterback in every phase, batting balls, get some hits on him and stuff like that.
I know you were probably getting on your man or probably being double teamed during the time that Cam Dantzler made his play. But what did you see? Did you have to catch it on the video board? What were your feelings during that?
I actually subbed out, so I was on the sideline watching it, and it took everything I had not to run the field. I was so excited. But I love to see Cam make a play like that, just straight effort and just come back and grind and rip the ball out and finish the game. It was amazing.
As a vet, you know how important these division games are. To be 3-0 right now, sweeping your home division games, what can that mean for this team?
It means a lot, especially in a division. Just to be where we are this early in the season is amazing, and just to see all the room for growth and room for improvement we can make still is crazy.
All right, thank you so much. Dalvin Tomlinson, always looking fly in his Carhartt. I think he wants a sponsorship, guys. Back up to you.
Hey, thank you, Tatum. And, it was good timing in some ways. I hated to interrupt you, but Dalvin Tomlinson, part of a defensive unit, again, in terms of defending the run and being better at that in that phase. And as he mentioned, he's pumped about winning with room for growth, as you were saying prior to the interview, Ron.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just when you look at this defense, they did a good job against a team that has run the ball all season. They were 32nd in the pass. They were 3rd in the run, and the Vikings stopped them. This 3-4 defense, it's about angles and gaps. And if the gap integrity is not there for those linebackers getting there early, and that's what you saw today. You saw the guys shooting gaps early. You saw the Bears that looked like out of sync. Like it just didn't seem like they even knew what they wanted to do early on. They kind of got it figured out in the second half, but the big boys are doing what they want. And to his question about signing a guy like Ndamukong Suh, I mean, when you look at this salary cap, I don't think he would take, because we're not the hometown for him, so I don't think he's going to take a hometown discount when there's probably other teams that are going to be in the playoff race that are going to want his services. So in his mind, as a veteran that wants to play towards the end of his career, he's probably going to look at the best team opportunity to make it to a Super Bowl again. But the Vikings could beat the Dolphins next week. Now that Teddy Bridgewater's probably out, Tua probably shouldn't come back. And now they're playing Skylar Thompson, whatever that is.
And the Jets just put 40 on them.
The Jets killed them. So if you think about that, I mean, they go into the bye week with a huge upside on this, and the Packers loss. Maybe Ndamukong Suh says, hey, okay, what do you have for me? $1 million, $2 million? I'll come in and try to help you guys win the Super Bowl. So maybe.
With the way things are going, of course, the Vikings will have to walk off winners against Skylar Thompson and company next week. But again, that is next up. The 4-1 Vikings down in Miami before the bye week. This is Minnesota Vikings Fan Line. You heard Ron Johnson. I'm Eric Nordquist. The number is 800-320-5326, 1-800-320-5326. Whether it's Chris, Shane, Matt, Jeff, John, and more, stay on hold. We will get to your phone calls, as well as talkbacks with the free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone. Give us your best 30 seconds. I got one from Abby on deck. You're listening to Vikings Fan Line. 29-22 the final. The Vikings beat the Bears, and they're now 3-0 in the NFC North Division. More calls around the corner. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
In Minnesota, winning is everything. And on the road, that means Honda, America's most fuel-efficient, full-line automaker. And this year, Honda's made some exciting new lineup changes, starting with the all-new Honda HR-V. And coming soon, even more redesigned Honda SUVs. So don't wait. For attractive financing on Honda's all-star lineup, see your Greater Twin Cities Honda dealer to reserve or buy your Honda today. Based on EPA estimate of model year 2020 full-line automaker fleet-wide fuel economy. 2021 EPA Automotive Trends Report.
All right, who's ready to go to soccer, huh?
Yes!
It started as a normal Saturday, but then...
Oh no, sounds like the battery.
That's when their plans took a turn for the worse.
Ugh, I knew I should have had the battery checked.
Dad, look at the birds.
Those are vultures!
Don't let a bad battery turn your day into a B-rated horror film. Get your battery checked today. Need a new one? Reach for what works. A battery from FVP. Verified, proven.
Nothing beats being in the stands for live Minnesota Vikings football. From those nail-biting passes to pivotal plays to the game-winning touchdowns. You can be there for all the action this season. As the official ticket marketplace of the NFL, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of seats so you never miss a game. Score tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Minnesota Vikings. Get your tickets today. That's Ticketmaster.com/Minnesota Vikings.
With its smart, sustainable solutions, Pentair helps you move water, improve water, and enjoy water for happier, healthier lives. From great tasting water straight from the kitchen faucet to energy efficient pumping solutions and everywhere in between, we make the most of life's essential resources. Visit Pentair.com to learn more. Pentair, the official sustainable water partner of the Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings postgame conversation continues tomorrow on my show. It's Paul Allen, weekdays 9 to noon on FM 100.3 KFAN. Cousins on a sneak! And no signal!
God, he is in.
No signal!
Seriously.
What are we doing? Yes! Touchdown! Kirk on the sneak for a rushing touchdown. And the Vikings have taken a 27-22 lead. Vikings' first two-try this year. Cousins throws left for J.J. He reaches for the two, and he got it! 29-22, Vikings!
Another good game for Kirk Cousins. Another game-winning drive. Good on him. He's put his team in position to win. It's Special teams had an off day, but they've been good, solid. I'm sure they'll come back strong. This defense is absolutely terrible. Minus Cameron Dantzler, you have now let Andy Dalton, Jared Goff, and Justin Fields have their way with you. This is not sustainable. Something happened.
Oh, welcome back to Minnesota Vikings FANLine. That's what happens when you have more than 30 seconds to say, courtesy of the free iHeartRadio app, a talkback. I was kind of interested to hear more about his thoughts on the defense, which we will get to. Some of the struggles. I'm Eric Nordquist from 9 to noon. Ron Johnson is with me. 29-22 is the final. And, you know, as evidenced by that talkback, really the constant week-by-week part of, damn, it's good that we won.
Right.
But, my God, what did I watch? I want to start with the positives in relation to Kirk Cousins, though. So it's a franchise record. He was either 17 or 18, if you count that one that was negated by a penalty. Consecutive completions to start the game today. The last guy to do it was Tommy Kramer, 1979 at Lambeau. And similar to the offense where they've experienced some lulls in big spots this year, they had their issues in the second half. But Kirk started out hot, touchdowns on their first 3 drives.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins last week put on the chain. I saw him with the spinner chain, the diamond chain. He said it was empowering. So this is what gold chain Kirk looks like. Like
okay.
This is Diamond Dallas Page Kirk Cousins. Like this is what this is. I mean, I love that he's coming out of his shell. He gave that pregame or postgame speech after the first win for Kevin O'Connell, and he seemed real confident and relaxed. Like he seems like a guy that's playing relaxed. Like he had, not to say he felt pressure before, but he felt pressure. Like this is probably what it feels like to have a coach that trusts you, that's giving you the keys to the car to say, hey, go out tonight, have fun, and be home whenever you feel like it. There's no curfew. And this is the Kirk that everybody's been wanting to see. Now, there is a lot of room to grow. There's more stuff to come. Like, this is not the end. But it's just good to see him relax. And that's what – I mean, I'd say the 17 for 17 is part of being relaxed. I think that's just the plays were called, were great. The guys were open. And last week, there were some there's been some red zone miscues. Like, I think Munt or Ellison dropped a pass.
Munt, yeah.
Yep. So we see Irv Smith dropped a pass. Like, so today the guys caught him.
And Kirk made some bad decisions in the red zone last week as well.
Yeah, true. And so, and the guys, the one behind Justin Jefferson, guys are catching the ball. Kirk made the throws when he had to. So I think it's just a combination of the two. But yeah, hot start. Now, it did get cooled off quick, but no, 17 for 17, you can't deny that. He's in their history books now.
Is there anything, before we get to another talk back, which we will do shortly, is there anything you're seeing in terms of what we are doing during these lulls? Now, it's lack of execution. I remember during KOC's interview with Ben Lieber, played just about 20 minutes ago, Kevin O'Connell even said, I can do better calling the plays. I just don't know what that looks like. And so is that just, once again, a coach maybe taking the fire off of somebody else and putting it on himself? But we have seen through now 5 games a team where in moments they're unstoppable, and in others they just can't get out of their own freaking way. And these lulls, bookending games with points is great and winning is great, but these second and third quarter lulls in particular are very problematic.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes the game gets in cruise control, and I think a coach just not to say forgets, you just think like, all right, here's the play on my play sheet, says I should run this play because here's the 4 within this yard distance and play part on the field. Boom, we're going to go with this play. When Kirk gets to the line, he sees what he thinks he sees and he, runs it. Well, teams are now trying to figure that out too. They're like, okay, we had a half or a quarter to figure this out. When he comes to the line and do this, hey, let's disguise it this way and do this. And so their DBs, I mean, we have to forget, we can't forget, the defense is not just going to lay down and do the same exact thing they did in the first half. And that's what the Bears did. Like after the first quarter, kind of a punch, they had a plan. They're like, all right, we got to show something else. We can't keep lining up just letting Kirk know we're going to put 8 in the box or 9 in the box. They were going single high safety. They were basically saying, beat us with the arm. Like, we're not going to let Dalvin Cook beat us and drain this clock out. And Kirk did exactly what he was supposed to do. He took advantage of the single high safety, and then they changed it up. When they changed it up, that's when Kirk kind of got a little bit like, oh, crap, the throws that were there earlier weren't there. And the run I think that's when the run should, as soon as that safety runs out the box, that's when Peyton Manning does the fake go to get a figure out and then kill, run the ball. Now start running the ball because now the box is favorable. Pick your side. If you count to the right, there's 4 guys to the right, 3 to the left, go left. If they flip it and try to stunt and move, boom, go the other way. I mean, you got to play around with that, motion shift and do all that crap, and then run the ball. Because when you motion shift, do all that crap, the linebackers back up, everybody goes on alert. Oh, some kind of trick pass is coming. Nope, let's just run it down their throat. But I think that's where Kevin O'Connell is going to figure it out. He's learning. We keep forgetting this offense looks good. Kirk Cousins looks good. This is his first year. You know what I mean? Like, this is his first year. It's like when you send your kids to school, that first week is great. But then school actually starts after that. Let's give him time. They'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's going to figure this out, and he's going to do those same shifts and motions now on some of these runs, on some of these reverse. I mean, Jalen Reagor even got involved. I don't think Mike Zimmer would have ever really wanted to throw a shovel pass on the 1 or 2 yard line to a backup receiver. Like, that's not something, you know what I mean? Like, that's just having confidence and saying, hey, look, we're not going to always go to our stars. Jalen Reagor, you get in there and let's see what happens. And nobody expected Jalen Reagor to get a shuffle pass, and he scores. So I think that it's going to, they're going to grow it and grow it and grow it, and eventually we're going to see the run start to come along in the second, third quarter when teams get out of that box because Justin Jefferson's killing them.
Yeah, and, all things considered, getting the victories, and you're right, those feathers he's pulling out of his cap with the JJ run play in London, this Jalen Reagor bit today, just some gotcha bits.
Yep, the double pass. Yeah.
I mean, just some good moments from KOC, although the third quarter is awful for this team. They've been outscored 33-6 in the third quarter.
Yep.
No touchdowns thus far, but they're 4-1. Hey. Vikings fan line, 29-22 is the final, 800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. And Talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app. Use that microphone. Give us your best 30 seconds. Let's check in with a talkback from Abby out in the capital, Washington, D.C.
Hey, guys. My name is Abby. I'm originally from Maple Grove, Minnesota, but I moved to Washington, D.C. Super excited about the win, but frustrated it was yet another close one when it felt like it didn't need to be. My question for you guys is, do we need to be concerned about this special teams play? It's been so good through the first 4 weeks. What happened today? Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Are you concerned about it? A bad punt and then a penalty associated with that bad punt, and I think that was on the touchdown drive. That deep pass to Mooney quickly followed it. The kicks now 1 of 5 from 50+, Greg Joseph. Okay, that's not very inspiring.
No.
But overall, through 4 weeks, many positive things to speak on. Just a bad day at the office or anything that kind of irks you a bit?
You know what? So the penalties have to stop. That's just, making sure you're in the right spot where you're supposed to be, hand placement, all that kind of stuff. The bad punt, that's like Greg Coleman would probably tell us, like, he put it, he dropped it too soon or he's missing his target spot. That's just, like golf. Getting that swing back. Where am I? Same with the kicker. It's where am I supposed to be? Where are my steps supposed to be? Where the lace is in or out? Simple stuff like that, I think, is fixable. Again, if they won the game. Now, if they had lost the game, we can nitpick and say, man, if they had just done this, if they had got 1 extra yard, maybe he makes that kick, or this team can never finish games out. I think the special teams group, like I said, we're getting trick plays. We're having solid, like punt return actually feels like a Marcus Sherrills again. Like it feels like Jalen Reagor might take one of these. The fumble was a little, he did bobble and fumble one, but thank goodness it didn't, go the way it normally goes, which the Bears go the other way for a touchdown. But yeah, no, I think it's fine. At the end of the day, making these extra points are the key too. Like after every score was extra point made, the 2-point conversion, he punched that in. I guess you can't really put that to specialists, but that is a special play. Yeah, I think this is a game where, hey, let's move on to the Dolphins. Like I'm not worried about special teams. We can nitpick because they won, so that's what we do. But no, I think it's fine.
On to South Beach. Matt from Prior Lake, welcome to Vikings Fan Line. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, why is our offense so conservative? We should beat these guys 50-0.
Okay.
I don't know if it's conservative. The Bears are getting paid too. Like, those guys aren't slouches. Like, they beat the 49ers. Yes, it was a monsoon, but they beat them. The 49ers are handling the Carolina Panthers right now. The 49ers are and the 49ers run the ball. So the rain kind of went to where they wanted to go anyway because they don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo right now. They ran the ball. And Trey Lance, we know, that was his whole deal. And I don't think they really trusted either of them right away. They want to run the ball and get to Deebo Samuel. But the Bears, they're getting paid too. Like, again, the lull of the third and second quarter, yeah, we can talk about this, but I don't know about 50 points. That 21 just was Kirk Cousins on an absolute heater. Like, that's like a pitcher throwing a no-hitter through 7 innings. That's what Kirk Cousins did.
Yeah. And I don't see a lot of conservatism in the offense.
No.
I see some issues on the execution side.
Yep,
I see
definitely.
a bunch of guys. I mean, we've seen bad routes being run, wrong routes, I should say. The quarterbacks made some questionable decisions at times. But
the one sneaky one, though, too, that out route to Adam Thielen that could have gotten picked off if Kirk was like a half second late. Kirk, on his third step, just let it go.
Yeah.
Trusted Thielen. I mean, he could have put a blindfold on like some Jedi, because he just threw it and trusted Thielen was going to be there. Thielen didn't panic because the DB cut in front of him. Thielen just kept running to the sideline. Ball went right over his fingertips. Last year, that probably is a pick to the house.
Which, by the way, while we're talking about Thielen, he doesn't apparently exist anymore because we're scheming so much Justin Jefferson.
It's Justin's season.
He's so good at that. Whether it's that Irv drop in the Philly game when that D-back kind of he brushed his hand right in front of him, and Irv just bumbles that thing. 2018 front side of the end zone in the overtime game when Daniel Carlson missed that kick. Front side of the end zone through two defenders. Thielen locks in on it, makes those catches.
He practices that all the time. Again, I always bring up Instagram and stuff, but, you can see Thielen doing his ETS stuff and some of the stuff he does. He practices that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He knows where he's going to be good at. And even the toe drag, though. He caught the ball and still had the wherewithal to get both feet in, make sure to continue to slide that foot because he didn't really have control just yet. Boom, out of bounds, 3rd and 5, which if it's 3rd and 10, they might not score there. That 3rd and 5 makes it a lot more manageable to get that.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of conservatism, going for it on 4th is not conservatism whatsoever. And you might think Adam Thielen is old and washed up, but catching in traffic is certainly still a fort of his. That's Ron Johnson. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. It's Vikings FANLine, and let's pause for station identification. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
This is Minnesota's sports station, FM 100.3, KFXN Minneapolis, St. Paul. The Fan, the sports leader.
And more talkbacks, including Jeff from Rosemount, those on hold, Chris, Shane, Austin, Jeff, John, and Leaf. We're going to be right back with more of your takes following the 29-22 Vikings victory at US Bank Stadium today. They're 4-1. And thanks to the Giants, our dear friends Saquon Barkley and Brian Dable and everybody involved with the Big Blue Wrecking Crew who took down the Packers in London today, the Vikings are all alone in first place in the NFC North Division. We'll get into all of that. It's Vikings FANLine, 800-320-5326, 1-800-320-5326. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here for my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense, dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
If you bleed purple, you're not alone. At North Memorial Health, that's our specialty. In fact, we treat Vikings fans all season long by providing leading primary care, specialty and urgent care for both in-person and virtual visits. At North Memorial Health, we're a proud partner of the Minnesota Vikings. That means we've got your family's back during football season, off season, and every season in between. Schedule an appointment today at northmemorial.com/Vikings.
Hello, families. Are you looking for a safe, loving, learning environment for your child? New Horizon Academy is a family-owned child care program that serves families just like yours. Our curriculum is specially designed to meet the educational needs of children ages 6 weeks through school age. We invite you to call or stop into your neighborhood New Horizon Academy to take a tour anytime. Learn more at newhorizonacademy.net. New Horizon Academy, where love and learning grow.
Commemorate the new era of Vikings football with the 2022 official Minnesota Vikings yearbook on sale now. Go behind the scenes for the hiring of general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and head coach Kevin O'Connell and take a deeper look at the team's approach to college scouting, free agency, and the draft. Retrace some of the best moments in team history and celebrate Minnesota reaching 500 regular season victories as Vikings legends from Fran Tarkenton and Bud Grant to John Randall and Chris Carter explain their favorite wins. Purchase a copy at Vikings locker room store locations or order online at shop.vikings.com. The Twin Cities home for Vikings talk. FM 100.3 KFAN. The Fan.
Fields back to pass, throws left, it's caught. Emir Smith-Marset against his former team. Cam Dantzler stolen from him, and he slides down and wins the game. Cam Dantzler ripped the ball away from his former teammate Emir Smith-Marset, and he has stolen all hope the Chicago Bears had. The Vikings are gonna win 29-22.
Cam Dantzler, what are you doing? Oh yeah, improving from last year and helping us win the game. Keep it up.
Indeed, KFAN Talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone and chime in. It's Vikings FANLine. Vikings win 29-22. They improved to 4-1. The Bears are 2-3. And the Vikings stand alone atop the NFC North division as the Packers fell in London today. I'm Eric Nordquist. Ron Johnson is with me. Whether it's the KFAN Talkbacks or your phone line, 800-320-5326, 800-320-5326. We'd love to hear from you, and let's jump right back into them. How about Shane from Sioux Falls? Welcome to Vikings FANLine.
Hey, Nordo. Thanks for taking my call, man. On the defensive side, with the transition to the 3-4, a couple things. One, with Danielle Hunter, I guess I don't know enough schematically to know the difference, but as an edge rusher, whether you're an outside linebacker in a 3-4 or a 4-3 defensive end, essentially aren't you one-on-one with the offensive tackle? Danielle hasn't had many sacks this year. It seems like he's kind of struggling in the pass game. What's the difference from him being in a 3-4 versus a 4-3? And then second, in Donatello's defense, we got a lot of great talent, but it doesn't seem anybody's making any big plays. Not many interceptions, not many TFLs, not many sacks. You got Zadarius, Harry, Kendricks, Hunter. Why isn't there more big plays from the defense? So, and Nordo, you're a national treasure as a Viking fan. I love you as a 9 to Noon fan. You're great at what you do. Appreciate you. Wish I could buy you a beer someday. Thanks.
I love that. Thank you. And I'm just going to make sure to snip that. If we can get that from Profiler so I can use that as my ringtone moving forward. Thank you, Shane. Now, I will say this, and all pleasantries and such aside, appreciate the phone call. The Vikings defense has generated turnovers in each game, including this one. And Danielle Hunter did actually get his first sack since week 1 today. He found a way to track down the seemingly just unfazable Justin Fields, one of 2 times the Vikings got to him today. Where I do want to echo some of Shane's points, though, defensively, the transition to the 3-4, things look different, obviously, but still trying to understand what that role change means for a Danielle Hunter and getting him to be splashier on a game-by-game and really a drive-by-drive basis for a guy that we have massive expectations for.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about DeMarcus Ware, I think it was a similar transition for him, and he ended up becoming, he was already good, but he ended up becoming really good as a stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker going from a DN, and it was the same thing. When you have a guy that size, that powerful, in his whole life, it's hand in the ground, power off the line of scrimmage, sometimes 2 hands in the ground, like a Bearcat or something, and he's coming off the line and just steamrolling tackles. Well, now, and Ben Lieber brought this up on the Vikings pregame show this morning, that when you're standing up, you're not as comfortable anymore. You don't have as much power. He's not as bendy in the hips. Like he's not he's a stiff dude, but he's not like super bendy. Like that's not what he was. He was more of a DN power, violent, punch guys in the chest, knock arms down. And so he just has to get comfortable. But also, as a 3-4 outside linebacker, if you think about T.J. Watt, Zadarius Smith has been more of the go after the quarterback guy in this scheme. Danielle's had to kind of play in space, contain, stay back a little bit. Don't get so greedy that the guy jumps outside of you because you're setting the edge on your side now, or you're dropping back into the hook flat, or some kind of little zone area in the flat. So,
and we saw a couple of moments today where Fields we did close in too far, and he found his way out of that for a couple of big first downs.
Yeah, so it's and again, as far as that, so that's the difference. It's standing up to it. He has to just learn it, but he's getting there. And then the Ed Donatel splashy play thing, there hasn't been too many like contested pass options. Like it's just a little different. Like you don't have. Like Zimmer's defensive back schemes were confusing sometimes to the guys. You saw a lot of missed assignments. We're not seeing missed assignments. Like we're not seeing pointing fingers and whose guy is this and why is this guy wide open? We're seeing guys right there every single time, keeping the guys. And I think that's what we want. I think you want to keep the guys in front of you. So it's risk reward. There was a ton of risk with Zimmer and there was a lot of reward, but then they also got burned. This is a little bit less risky. This is more of a 401k. It's going to last longer. It's going to be there. And, if you just be patient, you'll be able to cash out eventually for a Super Bowl.
Okay. Got to wait until you're 59 and a half. Otherwise,
Exactly.
you start incurring
Or 55.
tax-related penalties.
55, you can start to move it around a little bit.
Chris from Vermont, welcome to Vikings FANLine.
Hey, guys. So, great win for the Vikings today, but just wanted to kind of, take a step back. The one thing about, if you look at just today, the Kirk interception was, I know the guy only throws, 8 or 9 or 10 interceptions a year, but absolute worst times. And today was just a terrible decision when you had, somebody wide open in the flat. But stepping beyond that, I think there's a lot of good things to look at and things to get excited about. But I think that it's just, kind of remind ourselves, if you look at the schedule even before the season, I think that we did look at ourselves as a 5-1 team going into the bye week. And even with that said, when I penciled in all the wins and losses at the beginning of the year, I saw ourselves 5-1 going into the bye, but still finishing the season with only 11 wins. And that included losses to Indianapolis, and included, a Green Bay loss later in the year. I think I was penciling in a loss to Buffalo, which I still think is reasonable. And that, in addition to the one loss we have, is 4 losses there already, and a bunch of other games to still toss back and forth. But I think just taking it one game at a time, there's still a lot of positive things. But even going into that bye week 5-1. We still have a very tough schedule to look at down the stretch. What do you think about that?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. In particular with Cousins, Ron, he did throw another interception today, and the one he threw in London, how do you not see Honey Badger there? And how do you make the decision you made today? And this was a conversation that took place during training camp, Ron, where in practice it was quite evident. I don't know if it was just taking more risks or if this is all part of the grander scheme of everything being new. And so you just can't judge anything because everything's so new. So you just have to sit back and let it happen, which I'm not willing to do as a bona fide rube. It's irritating because he was throwing a ton of picks in practice. We saw some changes in all of that, and now we're seeing it transpire in games. And albeit the two most recent ones, with the 3 in Philly, the game was a disaster anyway. But he has 7 touchdowns this year and 5 interceptions, and that's an interesting stat line for a guy that, as Chris mentioned, does not. He'll throw 7 or 8. I think he had 7 all of last year. He's got 5 through 5 games.
Yeah, and then he might not have any more. Like, you just never know. Like, if you look at the schedule, let's go to the schedule conversation first.
Yeah.
Bill Barnwell said that the Vikings. It was an ESPN article. The Vikings, I think, had the 3rd hardest schedule, and now they have the 5th easiest the rest of the way.
Really?
And I think that's what the article said.
What changed?
I have to pull. Did
you read the article or did you read the headline, Ron?
I read the headline.
Okay.
But somebody else sent it to me too because we did like a little segment on it. And so when you think about that. I kind of agree. Now, some people don't agree with that because they're looking at it like the Patriots could get better or this team could. But I think what they're taking into account is the fact that the Dolphins coming up, you don't know who the quarterback's going to be. You look at the other games, the Cowboys could have Dak back, so that's going to be a tough one. And you got the Bills. And then other than that, and then the Packers at the end. But other than that, I think the Eagles and the Saints, the reason why they said it, the Eagles and the Saints were actually tough games and the Packers to start the year. Lions were not, Bears were not.
Yeah.
So, and the Lions are doing what they do. They usually start off pretty like, oh man, these Lions might be good, and then they start to kind of show their true, show their true self and their claw. They get declawed early, and then they just maul you to death, and they really don't ever kill anything. But yeah, that's when I looked at the schedule, I'm like, it kind of fits. Like Kyler Murray has been like a blip on the radar. Like he hasn't done much. Like the Cardinals aren't scaring people like we thought. Maybe the whole playbook, you need to get in this contract thing was real. Because it does feel like Kyler just runs around. So you think about that Cardinals game and this, defense, these athletes getting Brian Asamoah out there a little bit more to chase Kyler around.
I like us out of the bye against the Cardinals.
So
I like us at Washington.
And DeAndre Hopkins will be his first game back, most likely. So he'll be rusty off of his suspension. So yeah, the Giants look good. They beat the Packers, but if you stop the run, you stop the run. And again, the Colts was supposed to be a tough one. Everybody had the Colts because they got a new quarterback as tough. And that was the worst Thursday night game ever. And then you followed up with the Bears and the Washington Commanders. That's going to be two terrible back-to-back Thursday night games. So, I think the Vikings schedule is favorable down the stretch. A lot of people, I don't want to get too far on it because every time you do that, fat cats get slaughtered. And we don't want to get there, but it's lining up for them to only lose about 4 to 5 games.
To Chris's point, though, I do feel that every single one of these games, if we keep coming out on top like this, the conversation will be moot. But moving forward, even going to Washington, I can't emphatically state that is a loser-proof game. I can't emphatically state, well, the Jets, I don't know. I mean, they did what they did to the Dolphins today, but you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, no, and I think every game is going to be this way.
Unless things evolve, we're all going to be on blood pressure meds by the time Christmas hits.
Find a sponsor. Find a blood pressure sponsor for the KFAN FANLine. We'll ship it out to everybody. 2-day shipping. Just take your meds on Monday and Tuesday. You'll be fine.
Let's hit a quick talk back, and then we'll go to break. Jeff from Rosemount wanted to chime in. It's Vikings FANLine. What do you got for us, Jeff?
Hey, Nordo, Ron, Max. Jeff from Rosemount here. Wondering your thoughts on the utilization or lack thereof of C.J. Ham. I think we're paying him $3-4 million to essentially be a really good or special teams kickoff player. Seems like a waste of money to me. Your thoughts on if he'll get utilized more on the offense or if they should cut loose? Thanks.
Hey, I appreciate it, Jeff. And if you're worried about what C.J. Ham's making, wait until you see Adam Thielen's paychecks.
Right.
No, but in all seriousness, C.J. Ham, a talker into the season, how's he going to fit into this offense? He's been a special teams demon, captain, quote unquote, of the special teams. He's great in that area. Mm-hmm. But into this game, Ron, we chatted about it 9 to noon, kind of the idea of, are we going to see more traditional run sets, get CJ out there and try and provide some defibrillation to the run game, get a spark going. And Dalvin did his thing today, but CJ Ham in this offense, what do you think?
I think Kevin O'Connell has to start to evolve. So I do agree with your evolve word. He has to evolve and get away from some of the Rams' run game antics, meaning use a fullback. Don't use tight ends anymore as lead blockers. It's not the best option for a lead blocker. And then use C.J. Ham as a 1-by-1 tight end, meaning if you're going to go two tights, put him 1-by-1 off of Irv or off of Johnny Munt, and then put him in the pass game. But then now, if you switch to a run, you can motion him back to the backfield and you can run the ball. He does have a $3.4 million cap hit. He has a 2.6 base salary. Justin Jefferson has a 1.8 base salary. So the numbers don't match.
That's going to change about less than 12 months from now, probably.
Yeah, pretty soon. And it doesn't change the production, and it doesn't match the money. So, again, the Rams never used a fullback. Coaches are creatures of habit. He probably is still trying to figure, how do I use a fullback? What does this offense look like with a full? It's not like he has an offensive coordinator. It's him. So he's going to have to get with the running backs coach, maybe, get with the offensive line coach. Hey, what kind of plays can we get C.J. Ham involved in the run game? How can we we have a guy that can get 94 yards with not a lot of help. The line you have to take, but Dalvin Cook's having to defeat one or two guys on his own. So how can we eliminate one of those guys? And C.J. Ham sometimes can block two. There's two in a hole, he can clear it. So, and not say it's ever going to happen, but that's the conversations that coaches do tend to have in coaches' meetings on Monday morning when they're in there with their coffee and they're looking at the film. That does come up. Like, hey, like, what can we do with CJ? Like, is there something we get in there?
Doesn't it seem in some ways, and you played the game so you know this better than I do, where certain teams, if they're so run heavy, if they're going to bring in the sixth offensive lineman, that's not just a thing they do once or twice a game. That's a thing they do all the time.
Correct.
Teams that spread it out and constantly have 3 wide receivers.
Right.
They very rarely go to 2 tight end sets.
Yeah, Stefanski. He used to all the time. Remember, he bring Rashad Hill in, and number 69 has entered the game, and the fans will go crazy.
So very similarly, in the flow of a game, and especially if you're running tempo, now you're not subbing at all, but kind of the idea of, hey, 3 times a game, we're going to do this CJ Ham bit.
Right.
That just doesn't seem plausible, or it seems like it would be difficult to work those types of super unique aspects of the game into it. It's like you're either in or you're out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and again, Kevin O'Connell being new, Kwesi being new, they knew CJ Ham to this community, to this team, to this locker room. He's a big-time leader. He's a man of faith. He's a guy you can count on. He's a guy you can go to sleep at night and know you're not going to wake up and see him in the TMZ headlines. So he's a really great character guy, locker room guy. But when you're doing the numbers this offseason and they're looking at the numbers and where they're getting hit and what they need on the field, when you have a Dancha Senna now breaking the lineup as a receiver who can help you on special teams as well, yeah, that's where the rubber sometimes meets the road, where they have to figure it out. I mean, they do have, like I said, $1 million in cap space, but with that $3 million for CJ Ham, go to an Ndamukong Suh or go to somebody else as a D tackle. Maybe, because if we're not going to use them, what's the point? But I do believe that if they were to sit down with the offensive line coach, the running backs coach, and say, hey, let's talk about this run game. Because that's why a guy like Kevin O'Connell might actually add a run game coordinator, or has one already that we really haven't even looked at. But they get a run game coordinator. They have an offensive coordinator and then a run game coordinator, somebody who's going to really help dial up these run plays. Because you have the best running back in football. You have to figure out a way to get them going.
That's Ron Johnson. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. This is Minnesota Vikings fan line. 29-22 is the final. The Vikings are 4-1. They lead the NFC North division. We love all of that. And we love you chiming in. 800-320-5326 is the phone number. Again, the free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone. Give us your best 30 seconds via a talkback. And we'll get you on the air that way as well. One more segment with the Greater Vikings Radio Network before we let you go, but that is right around the corner. This is Vikings Fan Line on KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings Radio Network.
Hey, so listen up. Quick Trip is teaming up with your Northland Ford dealers to give away a new Ford F-150 to one of you lucky Vikings fans and the opening drive sweepstakes. Just fuel up at Quick Trip with any of our fully guaranteed gasolines, use your Quick Rewards card, and you're entered. Weekly winners win a $10 gas card for every yard returned on the Vikings opening drive and a shot at winning a Ford F-150. Hey, Vikings score on that opening drive, it's an extra $500 for you. See QuickTrip.com/sweepstakes for details, and see you next time.
Welcome to the Fourth Industrial Revolution, a revolution powered by data and applications, AI, and IoT. And now there's one company born to enable it, Lumen, the platform for next-generation business that combines adaptive networking, edge cloud, connected security, and collaboration. Lumen delivers the next-gen architecture that next-gen apps require. Say hello to Lumen, the platform for amazing things. Learn more at lumen.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly O'Connell from the Fox 9 Morning News. Tonight, though, I'll be on Fox 9 News at 9 with an interesting story about a woman who's hoping to offer a new place for kids to connect and find a community, all over a cup of coffee. That's tonight on the Fox 9 News at 9. And then tomorrow morning, grab yourself a cup of coffee and join me and the whole Fox 9 Morning crew as we are live and local all morning long on Fox 9.
There's an easier way to stay informed. With the Fox 9 News app. Go to your app store to download the Fox 9 News app today.
As a contractor installing windows, you deserve a simple choice. Anderson 400 Series windows. They're the cladwood windows contractors trust the most. So much so, they're the windows contractors trust for their own homes. And they even have fewer callbacks for extra peace of mind. When it comes to windows, the choice is simple. It's Anderson 400 Series windows. The windows contractors trust the most. Request a quote at andersonwindows.com today.
Claims based on 2022 Anderson Brand Survey of U.S. contractors.
Your radio home for Vikings football.
Oh my God!
FM 100.3 KFAN.
Offset eye right, hand off Dalvin. He shakes the tackle at the 2, walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings! It's Dalvin Cook, and the Dalvin domination is underway. 6-0 Minnesota. 3 receivers right and JJ left. Hand off Dalvin. Swings around the right side. 5-4-3-2. Touchdown! Let the Dalvin domination continue. And the Vikings have taken a 13-3 lead.
Welcome back, Minnesota Vikings fan line. One more here with the Greater Vikings Radio Network. Of course, we're going to continue fan line moving forward after that. You can still continue to tune in 100.3 FM, The Fan, the flagship right here in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Free iHeartRadio app wherever you are on the bleeping planet. You can catch up with us and chime in as well. So 800-320-5326, 1-800-320-5326. That's the phone number. And, of course, Talkbacks on the app as well. Let's check in with Austin from Duluth. Welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, so first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Vikings on 3-0 in the division, top of the mountain. Here we are, but I'm not going to be the first or the last to say this, but that second, third quarter lull in the defense is really kind of biting us in the tail. We've had these 3, 4, 6, 7-point games, 28-24 against the Lions, 28-25 on the Saints, 29-22 against the Bears, and it's all coming out of that last second play, and that might be biting us in the butt, but otherwise, congratulations on top of the division. Good thing the Packers lost. Kirk's on fire, Dalvin's on fire, Jefferson's on fire. I think we got a pretty good team this year.
Okay, thanks, Austin. I appreciate you running through the scores with us.
That was a roller coaster ride.
Leaf in Minneapolis. Welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hello.
Hey. Hi. Leaf, are you there?
I am here.
So what do you got, Leaf?
So what I want to know is what we're doing with our wide receiver 2. So I heard another caller calling earlier about Adam Thielen. I also heard you guys talk about what he makes, and he's making over $10 million a year. So what kind of production are we getting out of that? Is there a chance that we sign a guy like OBJ, who is going to be ready in mid-November, or Will Fuller, who is still actually a pretty young guy who can make a big difference for our team? He's also coming back ready to play. So that's what I want to know, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Leaf. Yeah, through 5, and I don't have his. Actually, I do have his season-long stats here. Let's see. Okay, Adam Thielen, 21 catches, 221, and a touchdown. His 50th career touchdown. We like that. Second on the targets, of course. JJ getting the lion's share of all of that. Mm-hmm. And today, then 4 receptions and another 20-some yards added on to that season total.
Right.
People want more out of Adam Thielen, but they also love what they're getting out of Justin Jefferson. If you're going to scheme JJ open and get that production, that's going to take away from somewhere. And so I think a lot of people were envisioning, and maybe fairly so, the idea that once this offense truly opens up, that it would not be so lopsided, that this thing is just going to be a battering ram, just a freight train that never stops. And as we're figuring things out here, Adam Thielen has looked to be on the outside, looking in more often than not from a production standpoint. So are you worried about it overall? I mean, how do you view it?
I'm not worried at all. I mean, if you look at targets like you brought up, through 4 games, Justin Jefferson, 42 targets, 16 first downs. Adam Thielen, 28 targets, 16 first downs. So Adam Thielen is very productive. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Justin Jefferson, 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen, 1 touchdown. Again, production's there, 28 receptions. Adams, 21. This is before today's game. So it is what it is. Like, you're going to have a monster, and then you're going to have a second guy, and he's wide receiver 2. Would Odell Beckham give you more than Adam Thielen? I'm not too sure. Like, I think he would add more drama if he wasn't getting the ball. Now, again, he's not the Odell Beckham from – of old. We would hope that he's learned and he's bounced around a little bit and has some issues with different teams. So maybe he's grown, but you never know. Sometimes, getting a little bit more production versus a headache is not worth it. I mean, we'd love to have it. And
it was
love
less
to
than
see
a year ago when he forced his way out of Cleveland to
Correct.
the Rams. So.
And it wasn't just him, too. Like, it was his dad. His dad was tweeting out videos of Baker Mayfield. Look at Baker Mayfield missing my son. And look at this. Like, I just don't know if you want that. Like, do you want – because he's not going to get more targets than Justin Jefferson. He's going to be a fill-in guy. Again, but the Vikings are 4-1. They could be 5-1 after, like you said, after the bye. Odell's been like visiting teams like he's on a college recruiting trip. So, hey, Kevin O'Connell and him know each other from last year. Kevin O'Connell knows what he can get out of Odell Beckham. Maybe he just fits as a fourth or fifth weapon because he wants to have, a third weapon, but, a fourth or fifth receiver because he wants to go 4 or 5 wides at times. And we haven't seen even that yet. So, could happen, but no, I think Adam Thielen's wide receiver 2. Even if Odell Beckham were to come, he would be 3.
Yeah, I don't
know. He
know.
might be 4 behind KJ Osborne.
I don't know. I don't want it. The money conversation with Thielen can make sense if we're just going to match it up with the production. And right now, are we getting $10 million worth out of Adam Thielen? And then I guess if we want to play that game, then clearly not. But JJ, Justin Jefferson, happens to be taking everything from everybody right now.
Right.
And so dealing with that. Now, Adam Thielen absolutely needs to be on our team. Adam Thielen absolutely is a guy that scored 24 touchdowns the last 2 seasons, which is part of the reason that you wrote the name on the dotted line of that contract in the first place. I think you need to remember that as well. But
right.
But yeah, Thielen.
But here's the thing,
it's
though.
a light start.
Cooper Kupp, 191 targets last year. Next closest guy was 89. He had 110 or whatever, 102 more targets than the next closest guy. Like. That's and that's both played 17 games, 145 catches to 50 catches. This is 16 touchdowns to 6. Like, this is what this offense is going to look like. It's feast or famine. One guy's going to feast. The rest of the guys, you have to pick up the pieces after the lion eats.
And right now,
we've seen the Lion King, and everybody doesn't get the meat.
You mentioned it was 42 to 28 targets into this game. Yeah. And after today's game, that margin's been widened by 6 more with the 13 targets to 7 that JJ enjoyed today. And I hope you enjoyed the 154 yards that Justin Jefferson compiled as well. Vikings fan line, 800-320-5326. Jim in Cottage Grove, welcome to Vikings fan line.
How we doing, guys? Nordo, Ron.
Doing great, man. What's up?
Awesome.
All right. So, kind of ringing the same bell here. I can't believe people are talking about bringing in OBJ. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. But anyway, my point is, I'm not at all worried about the offense. I really like what I'm seeing with O'Connell. I mean, even today, I think we saw a lot of new creativity and how they're starting to just be a little more modern with their offense. I love it. However, clearly, the secondary on the Minnesota Vikings, I mean, we're going back to 90s Denny years here. I don't even think our line is that bad. I don't like Hunter standing up. I'd like to see his hand in the ground every play. That aside, I think our defensive line is pretty darn good, and I don't even mind our linebackers. But this secondary is just beyond atrocious, and I put a lot of that on Donatel. I put a lot of that on our former regime. So my question, I actually have a question.
No.
Do we just not have the talent in the secondary, or is it a scheme thing, a little of both? The secondary will ruin this very good potential season for us, in my opinion.
All right, appreciate it, John. Have a great one.
Well, just like elbows and buttholes, everybody has one, and you can have an opinion, but doesn't mean it's right. No, the DBs are good. Cam Dantzler is good. Cam Dantzler is just fine. Patrick Peterson, Hall of Famer. Harrison Smith, Hall of Famer. Like, when you think about this defensive scheme, again, we talked about this. There was a lot of risk before. Cam Bynum, I interviewed him on my show, and Cam Bynum talked about how he knows he has to back up Harrison Smith on certain things, and Harrison Smith teaches him on how to jump things that he learned from Mike Zimmer. But then he also said, you know what? But Harrison Smith's going to know where he needs to be, and Harrison Smith's going to make sure we communicate, and we're going to be in the right spot. He's not going to leave me out to dry. Where Anthony Harris, if you think about when he talked about Harrison Smith, he's like, sometimes I got to be there because I know Harrison's just going to go. Like, I got to be behind him. because he's just going to take off. And that's why I got 6 interceptions, because I would go because I knew Harrison Smith was going to go. So that's the difference. Cam Bynum's like, yeah, I know Harrison Smith wants to do this, but I also know Harrison Smith knows where we're supposed to be, and he's going to play our scheme. And that's they're keeping the guys in front of him. Like, Patrick Peterson's the only one that almost got beat at the age of, 30-something, and it was a double move, and it was an overthrow. Like, who cares? Like, there's not been glaring, like, oh, my God, these DBs suck. Like, Cam Dantzler just won the game. You know what I mean? Like, cover 4, he was so confused last year or whatever year. I think it was last year. He backed up into the end zone on cover 4, and he's playing red 4, which means put your heels on the line, on the goal line, let the guy come into your lap, and then follow him. Mike Zimmer said, yeah, if he was in the right spot, we win that game. Well, he was confused. There's so much going on in that defensive backfield. He really was just confused. Like, oh, crap, wait, what do I do here? This guy moved. Okay, I'm supposed to do this. Now it's just like, hey, look, just back up. Just play this. Keep that space in between. I need 5 yards in between you, or you're impressed, man. Follow him. You have help over the top. Like, it's simpler. And I think that's the difference. It's going to get a little bit more complicated as they build on this team, but they're 4-1. This defensive backfield is not going to ruin the season.
Let's do this. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and I might have some more questions for you on this defense, because regardless of whether or not the defensive backs are bad, quote-unquote, Ron, they got to shore up something.
Yeah, I agree.
This bend but don't break thing is leading to some issues arising and some games being a bit more dramatic than they need to be. And as I said, this comes to conclusion. Vikings FANLine, at least on the Vikings radio network, but we're not done. Around the corner, continuing phone calls, continuing talkbacks. You can listen at 100.3 FM right on your radio dial, or you can listen via the free iHeartRadio radio app as well. So those on hold, we are going to get to your phone calls. And the next time you hear from us on the radio network is going to be next Sunday at 11 a.m., final game before the bye week. Your 4-1 Minnesota Vikings are at the 3-2 Miami Dolphins. It's a noon kickoff, 10 a.m. pregame on the flagship, 11 a.m. on the Vikings radio network. Dolphins don't have Tua right now. They lost Teddy Bridgewater today. Something called Skylar Thompson's throwing for them, which means it's going to be another close one, as it always is. Thank you so much to Brandon Molesky for producing. Ron Johnson will stick with me. This is Vikings FANLine, and it has been on the KFAN Minnesota Vikings radio network.
Ian Youngstedt of Youngstedts, and fall is here. It's time to get your car ready for cooler weather. How can they do that at Youngstedts, Ian?
Hey, Hockey. Right now you can save up to $250 in tire rebates on select sets of 4 tires, and we also have our winterization package going on right now.
Yeah, you guys do so much more than tires. Complete auto repair on domestic and foreign vehicles, auto body repair, car wash and detail centers as well, like my favorite one in Maple Grove. Give me that famous Youngstedts saying.
Our family taking care of your family since 1971.
And where can I go to find the locations and get coupons?
Just stop by youngstedts.com.
Hi, I'm Braxton. 3 years ago, when I was 9, I battled cancer and won, but I didn't do it alone. That's why I founded TB1 Fund to help young patients and their families during a difficult time. Our mission is to brighten their day in a unique and special way so they feel supported.
TB1 Fund and M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital are united to make a difference in the lives of patients and their families. This season, we'll be announcing Braxton's Buddies of the Game and hear about TB1 Fund's mission from Braxton.
Learn how you can make a difference at tb1fund.org. Follow me on Instagram at TeamBrax1. Learn about my journey at braxtonbattalion.com.
I started my box factory to help people move things more efficiently. Nancy from Choice Bank makes me more efficient so my business can grow in a steady rhythm. Now I got more time to beat box at home, make boxes in the plant, beat box at home. My Choice Banker got me a business loan. My name is Barry B, and I got a sweet voice. Box maker by day, beat boxer by choice.
Choice Bank. We're committed to your business, your success, and to you. It's what we mean by people first banking. Go to bankwithchoice.com.
Jeremy is a 20-year member of LIUNA, the Construction Laborers Union.
I built a career in the construction industry, managing and working on several hazardous waste cleanup projects, including the 35W bridge collapse, light rail transit, and others. The work I do makes the environment for Minnesota families more safe. Now I'm training others to do this work well into the future. LIUNA members earn great pay, union benefits, including pension, and full family health care coverage that is second to none.
Visit buildthenorth.org.
Hey, Becky, do you like this beat?
I'm into faster stuff lately, like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
What about this then?
powerful, just like Xfinity.
Get unlimited gig internet for $50 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra. Internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity Internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
Dancing crew, trip for two, nailed the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. Boosters designed for COVID-19 variants are now available. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster appointment as soon as you're eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Hey, fans of the purple and gold, it's Paul Allen. And if you're sick of trying to tackle your deck maintenance, then rush over to TimberTech. TimberTech looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And it's tough enough to handle even the harshest Minnesota weather. Want to lock up some protection too? TimberTech offers warranties that give you up to 50 years of coverage. So, if you're ready to build the perfect place to kick back at kickoff this season, visit TimberTech.com to get free samples. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
Your home for all things purple.
Caught! Yes!
FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Vikings FANLine now continues on FM 100.3 KFAN and the Fan Radio Network. Post-game coverage on the Fan is presented by our broadcast partners, your Greater Twin Cities Honda dealers, Choice Bank, Carboni's Pizzeria, Evans Transportation, by TimberTech, and by Lyona, building a better Minnesota.
Welcome, 29-22 is the final at U.S. Bank Stadium. It's Nordo from 9 to noon here. It's Vikings FANLine. Ron Johnson is with me. You can find him on Fox 9. You can find him on Twitter at 3RonJohnson. You can find him in the record books at the University of Minnesota and the Golden Gophers football squad. Thankfully, we don't have to talk about that Purdue game today. We get to talk about a Vikings victory as the Vikings improved to 4-1.
We've moved on.
We have.
This is the 0-0 championship week now.
On to Champaign.
On to Illinois.
On to Bielema. Absolutely.
Bielema with his shirt off. That was an interesting sight.
Not really interested in that at all. I'm interested in the opportunity for the Vikings to go to Miami, be 5-1 into the bye week. Interested in how every one of these games seems to be more dramatic than it needs to be. And I'm sure the Rubes have a lot to say about it as well. 800-320-5326. 800-320-5326. We're with you all the way up until Sunday Night Football this evening, folks. Following FANLine, Meat Sauce is going to jump in, and we're going to do Vikings overtime. So pumped about that, but back to the lesson at hand. Whether it's your phone calls or via Talkback on the free iHeartRadio app, you hit that microphone, give us your best 30 seconds, and have a chance to chime in. You'll get to be able to do that as well. So let's go to a Talkback right now. What about Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, Vikings general manager? Let's hear that Talkback.
Hey, fellas, Jeff here in Fargo. Hey, we got to give some credit where credit's due to Kwesi for not blowing up this roster. Ryan Poles blew up the Chicago roster, and they weren't very good to begin with, but look what's happening. They've got like 25 new guys on the roster. So shout out to Kwesi for keeping this roster intact. It's fun to see the boys fight, and it's fun to see him win some of these close games when we were losing them, all of them, this time last year. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah, thank you. And to that end, Ron, I guess when people were looking at all the various destinations for new head coaching candidates in the NFL this time, well, not this time, about 10 months ago, and we get Kevin O'Connell and you come in here, it's always been the question of, did Zimmer not get enough out of his players? Did Zimmer overcoach bad talent. Like, what went wrong with Zimmer, right? And now KOC's here. They do indeed take the approach, and some of it's financial, but in the end, ultimately, they find their way back with most of the same parts.
Yeah.
And at 4-1, I do agree with the talkback that some credit is due to Kwesi for working with KOC, the personnel department. Ryan Grigson, former Colts GM, is in on some of this decision making in this collaborative world that exists down in Egan now, and certainly some props and kudos to those guys for keeping this thing together and building off what was already there.
Yeah, and you said it, collaborative. Like, you see two sides of the ball communicating. You don't see one. I mean, we've heard all the inside rumors or stories of this coaching staff blaming this group or this group blaming this group, or is this team is their fault, not our fault. My defense is fine. The offense needs to figure it out, or the offense is doing great. He needs to get his defense together. Like, you're not hearing that. Now, again, winning heals everything. If this team was 1-4, who knows what we'd be hearing about this team? But they're 4-1. So all is well and nothing, no harm, no foul. Like, everybody's happy. It's all kumbaya right now. They only faced adversity one time with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like the guy said, some of these close games we always question. Could Kirk Cousins down the stretch win a game? 9 times out of 10, it wasn't really there, because that's when he did it. It was the you like that rants. The pushing, the shoving, the let's fight. I'm going to fight my head coach if we have to. So, yeah, it hasn't gotten to that. I think now it's, I know you like that. I don't need to ask you. Like, I know you like that, Kevin O'Connell. You do. You definitely like it when I do that. So, yeah, I think this is the next progression of this team. It's going to be an offensive-led team like the Rams. Defense, just be there with us. We're in this together, man. Y'all give up a point, we're going to go score a point. You give up 6, we'll get you go score 7. They score 7, we'll go get you 8. Like, that's what this team's going to be about.
Absolutely. 800-320-5326. Our badass producer, Max Fuller, is taking your calls and your talkbacks, so get them fired up. Let's go to Lewis in Chicago. Welcome to Vikings FANLine.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Awesome.
Great, man. Thank you.
Hey, so Lewis is my father's name. You guys can call me Lou.
Okay.
Last name Sanis. I just want to say, Ferrero.
Okay. I appreciate that. Let me hit you with this. So this offense, you get 7 catches and 91 yards from Justin Jefferson in the first quarter. Almost gets that TD. Dalvin, a bit of vulture work there as JJ fell just short. You get the touchdowns on the first 3 drives. All those drives, by the way, 6+ minutes each. I mean, just an anvil on the head of the Bears and the Bears fans everywhere. With how this offense was cooking. Then you get those lulls. But then for some reason, it happened last week when you get the final touchdown drive you needed. It happened the week before against the Lions. It happened today. A 17-play, back-breaking drive that included 5 third-down conversions en route to the go-ahead game-winning touchdown. 2-point conversions, good as well. What is it about this offense where, again, execution and the lulls, those things are real. And in a collaborative world, we got to say maybe there are collaborative-related issues. So the blame maybe can go to more than one spot. But when they absolutely need it, KOC, Kirk, and company find their way. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Though mind-bogglingly frustrating at the same time.
Yeah, and this is the thing to start that drive. I don't know if you felt this way. But the false start by Ed Ingram to start,
yeah,
it was like, oh, Lord, here we go again. This team is about to do what they do at the end of tight games. Like, they're going to find a way to screw this up. And then what happens on the next play? Kirk Cousins makes up for it, then gets down to 2nd and 5.
Was that the Irv Smith 15-yard catch after the false start?
After the false start, Kirk Cousins, to Irv Smith, 15 yards. So, yeah, so that's what I mean.
So I wasn't watching the TV copy, and I was listening to the radio. And PA, it wasn't like he was saying it was, but he's like, did we just get a delay a game off a kickoff? And I was just apoplectic. And there's the delay up there, and then the TV hits. I'm like, oh. But I still felt like bleep because what the hell you doing?
Right.
Come on, Ed.
Like, so, when you think
what
about.
What a way to start that drive.
When you think about that, to start the drive, but there's no, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't like a head dropped or, oh, crap, man, we're backed up 1st and 15 to start this drive. We're already, backs up against the wall, and now you're making it even worse for us. Nope, what'd they do? Kirk Cousins turns around, throws one to Irv Smith. Then they go next play, 5 yards. 5 yards for Dalvin Cook. You end up a 2nd and 5, 3rd and 1. And you boom, boom, boom. Like you said, it was just like after that first down to Irv, I think that was the confidence there. That was like the start of it. Everybody was confident. Everybody was on board. The fans started to feel it. You can feel the energy get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when they got into the red zone, you're like, all right, it's KLC time. He's going to dial something up. It's going to be nice. And then they score with the Kirk Cousins sneak. You know what I mean? And even the Kirk Cousins scramble. You know what I mean? Like that. Like Kirk Cousins, we've screamed at TVs. We've screamed in the stadium for years. Kirk, just run the ball.
Do you remember
get the first down?
You remember that 1-yard pass he threw to Irv Smith on the boundary when he had 8 yards of green in front of him?
Yeah.
By the way, into this game, Kirk had 3 rushing attempts through 4 games. 2 of them today. How about that? 1 of them for 6.
Yeah.
What a grinder. Why do we... Kirk and those how awkward is he running around, by the way? It's just beautiful.
But he's doing it, though. That's the thing. Like, that's Chang hang low Kirk. Like, he's letting his Chang hang low, and that I love it. I love the fact. I hope the team comes together.
Coin purse
after
full.
Seeing him spinning that chain on the plane. I think it was Chris Boyd, he said. I hope the team comes together. Everybody puts up some money and buys Kirk a chain. He said that was his first chain. Like, he's never went to spin. The guy that makes $1 billion, $128 million, whatever it was, has never wanted to buy a gold chain. I hope they come together for Christmas. Everybody chip in like, $1,000 a person. Go get the man a diamond chain with a spinner. Put an 8 in it. Like that. I want to see that. Lamar Jackson, that thing out there for Kirk Cousins. Like that's because he felt empowered when he put the chain on. I feel like when he puts the chain on, his eyes get red like anime, and he just gets Super Saiyan. Like. But, yeah, the fact that whole drive was built on that, the run, and then the sneak with Kirk, and then the 2-point play for JJ to not catch it in the end zone. He was short, but he had the wherewithal, the power to reach out, stretch, get the first or get the 2-point. That was huge, even though the Bears still never even got close. But that was huge because if he misses that, maybe the dancer play doesn't happen because the butterfly effect and everybody's nervous and the score wins the game. And Justin Fields becomes a hero, runs off the field, throws his helmet, running through the Vikings tunnel. And now we're sitting here griping about the Vikings are 4-2, and now they have to beat, or whatever it would be, 3-2, and they have to beat the Dolphins. So we're not saying that. They're 4-1. They could be 5-1 and put a lot more room between them and the Packers.
Let's dial up another talkback, and I don't have the name in front of me, but it sounds like somebody wants to discuss the lack of ability to stop running QBs.
Are you guys concerned with the lack of ability to stop running quarterbacks? First it was Jalen Hurts. And then you see it with Justin Fields. Just in the future, we see more running quarterbacks. We struggle against some guys like Kyler Murray and other guys that we may face later in the year. Thanks. Bye.
Your thoughts, Ron, on running QBs. And this kind of plays into the contain conversation maybe Danielle Hunter's role to some degree. Which
It's not Danielle Hunter's fault, but yeah.
Okay, well, good. Well, then tell me, and I'm not even blaming Danielle, but I'm just trying to figure out in this scheme and really historically, I mean, as good as some of Mike Zimmer's defenses were, let's just try to omit the last 2 years from that conversation.
Right.
Regardless of how stout they were, we were getting run over all the freaking time by a QB with legs. And, I would say in some ways that we limited Jalen Hurts probably more so on the ground, but then he just daggered us through the air with an MVP performance. But Fields got us a little bit today. Just some nip and tuck or dink and dunk type runs that were moving chains and keeping drives alive.
Yeah, one of our questions on Vikings Game Day Live for Sink or Sale today was, would Justin Fields rush for 50 yards? Ben and I both said because he's going to be running for his life.
Yeah, and you were dead wrong.
47. Yep. We were right there.
What a terrible opinion you had. How about that 50-yard TD we got bailed out on?
So this is the thing.
That flag.
I love to win, but I was like, please call this back. I don't want him to get over 50 yards because of that. Like, come back, just give him 3 yards. Just get me and Ben so me and Ben can win this thing over.
And guess what? It was the Hawkeye. Amir Smith-Marset with the block at the back.
And that was some great acting too, though. That was an acting job. Like the DB, it was more of a like, oh yeah, he's got me in the back. Like,
so Amir Smith-Marset
does that and fumbles the ball.
Yeah, a guy that many were saying he should be our 4th wide receiver.
I thought he still should be.
And now maybe some of these fans, they don't even want Adam Thielen to be our 2nd wide receiver anymore because they wanted Amir Smith-Marset.
Right.
His 2 fingerprints on the day as he faced his former team. His first catch gets stripped for a game-sealing play, and he negates a 50-yard touchdown with a block in the back that probably didn't need to happen.
That's tough.
That's
tough. That felt like Michael Vick. I think, did Michael Vick do that in the Dome one time? Like take off running?
Well, there was the 46-yard overtime touchdown that still to this day is, I mean, it just makes my eyes bleed just watching it. But stopping the run.
Wait, on quarterbacks. Yeah, so when you think about the running back, and I've said this, and again, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think there has to be a way to get, what's his name, Brian Asamoah on the field. He, with his speed, length, and his ability to do that, like if you go some kind of sub package, because we've seen that,
like a spy of some sort,
exactly, where they put and so there's the problem, and I hate to even bring this up, but we have to talk about it. The thought was that when Lewis Cine would play safety, Cam Bynum becomes your spy.
Okay,
and now I think it's Josh Metellus, because even when Lewis Cine was healthy and Harrison Smith was out, Josh Metellus came in.
Yep.
So mentally,
and they were doing 3 safety bits with Metellus on the field.
Yep, with Harrison Smith and Cam Bynum, and not Lewis Cine. So maybe mentally he wasn't grasping the defense. Physically, no question. Kid's a physical freak. He can run well.
Yeah.
When he was in coverage situations, he did great in preseason. But maybe mentally there were some things that coach saw on film and some. Because the thing about mistakes and errors, we don't see some of it because the pass doesn't go that way. But the coach watching film is like, dude, what the hell are you? Why are you over there? Like, what are you doing? And so in their minds, they're like, look, he's not ready. Like, he's not ready yet. But and let's not ruin him, put him out there too soon, and then the fans hate him. Let's wait till we think he's ready. Cam Bynum also has been playing so well, Lewis Cine couldn't get on the field. If Cam Bynum's not playing well, they probably put him out there. So my thought would be, if Josh Metellus is going to come in, you got to spy the quarterback with a I don't know if you take Harrison Smith and not say waste him, but you shouldn't have him in that role. But a Cam Bynum or even a Josh Metellus, or you go with Brian Asamoah, a linebacker who can run, who's fast, who can sit in there with a Kyler Murray, a Dak Prescott, a Josh Allen, those quarterbacks that do purposefully try to run and hurt you with their legs. I'd say those are. I don't think not Zach Wilson, but what's his name with the Patriots? He's not Zach Wilson's evil twin. He's not going to. Mac Jones.
Are you talking about Zappy?
Mac Jones. Well, yeah,
Mac Jones.
But Zappy, yeah. But either way, and Zappy looks just like Mac Jones, though. Their headshots look the same. Like, I'm pretty sure he cloned Mac Jones and just signed him, which wouldn't go against Belichick. But if you think about that, Zappy or Mac, neither of those guys are scaring you with their legs. The Commanders, nope. Carson Wentz, not a chance. So there's only about 3 or 4 quarterbacks left. And then Aaron Rodgers doesn't do it anymore. He kind of sits back there and runs around, but he's not trying to beat you like he used to with 20-yard daggers on it with his legs. There's about 3. But with those 3, Kyler Murray being one of them, yeah, you have to be able to figure out, are we going to spy this guy or are we just going to stay home? And that's why, because Lieber said this, he doesn't feel like they blitz a lot and they're not getting home a lot. Maybe they're sitting back like, look, let's try to keep this quarterback in the pocket and keep him in front of us because we feel that's a better chance than giving up a big play and letting them get outside.
I dig that. That's Ron Johnson. I'm Eric Nordquist from 9 to noon. It's Minnesota Vikings fan line. Of course, 800-320-5326 is the phone number. And I got a bunch of talkbacks on deck as well with the free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone, speak your piece. We'll put it on the radio, and everyone will have a great, wonderful time. 29-22 is the final. Vikings are now 4-1. Miami on deck next before the bye week. A period of rest before the second half of the season begins. Couple more segments of Vikings fan line here, so stay on hold. Keep the talkbacks coming. Keep celebrating. It's Vikings fan line on the Fan Radio Network.
Hey, it's Moss for the best pizza in town, Carboni's. Carboni's Pizza was voted best pizza in the Twin Cities, and I agree. They have the best crust, best homemade pizza sauce, and all your favorite toppings. My family absolutely loves that original crust. The kids like the cheese pizza, and Christy and I, we throw on a ton of toppings. Carboni's has more than just award-winning pizza, like hot hoagies, salads, buffalo wings, and always add cheesy bread. You'll thank me later. Over 30 locations across the Twin Cities and a handful in western Wisconsin. Carboni's.com.
My grandpa Jim Warner treated his customers like family. Warner Stallion is still doing that today. I'm Angela Warner, and to thank you for 68 years, Warner Stallion Appliance is offering unbeatable savings, like free dishwasher installation, free delivery, and 2 years special financing to qualified buyers. Plus, go to WarnerStallion.com for a $50 coupon you won't find anywhere else. These deals end October 12th, so hurry into one of our 10 Minnesota stores.
It's Chevy truck season, and Chevy offers a full lineup of trucks and accessories, which means it's the perfect time to find the truck for you and make it your own. Make your Silverado bolder with a sport bar and bed liner. make your Colorado brighter with perimeter bed lighting. And make your Silverado HD more secure with a tonneau cover. So whether you want added capability or to add your own style, your Chevy dealer can help you find the right Chevy truck and accessories for you to make the most out of truck season with a $1,000 accessory allowance toward the purchase or lease of a new Chevy truck with eligible accessories. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Must take new retail delivery of a 2022-2023 Silverado 1500 or Silverado HD or a 2022 Colorado with eligible GM or associated accessories by 10/31/22. Accessory purchase must be equal to or more than 1,000 MSRP. Excludes tax and installation. Not available with some other offers.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here for my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
What did 9 out of 10 people who died from COVID have in common?
They were 50 or older.
And if you have a condition like heart disease or diabetes, your risk is even higher.
COVID vaccines lower the risk of death.
Get your updated vaccine now. It could save your life.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
With each mortgage-free home, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes that put their lives on the line for all of us, risking their lives for our country and our communities. These heroes need your help now more than ever. Help America's heroes. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked!
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Golden Gophers, Illinois. Kickoff at 11 this Saturday on the radio home of the Gophers, FM 100.3, KFAN, The Fan.
I love all the pickups that the Vikings did in the offseason. Kevin Sullivan, Zanarius, but we got to respect the fact that Harrison Phillips has showed up game in and game out, and I think he was one of our better pickups. Your thoughts?
Welcome back, Vikings FANLine, 800-320-5326. And those talkbacks, like you heard there, free iHeartRadio app, hit that microphone, ask something, say something. 29-22 is the final. The Vikings are victorious. They are now 4-1. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. Ron Johnson, Gophers great, Fox 9's finest. He's with me in studio. A couple more segments of FANLine before we do kind of the baton toss to Saucy. I'll hang out with him. We'll do some Vikings overtime as well. And back to the talkbacks. Well, actually, why don't we do this? Ron, you heard that talkback there, so I should at least acknowledge it and address it. Some of the pickups. So whether it's Zadarius Smith, who has been, I'd say, the larger aggressor and more successful at getting to the quarterback than Daniil has been through 5 games. Harrison Phillips, providing some beef in the middle. And he's kind of been sitting next to a very resurgent Dalvin Tomlinson. I think Dalvin Tomlinson so far has been much more impactful game to game so far this year than he was last year. So your thoughts on that talkback and some of the pickups?
So he said Harrison Phillips. Let's go with that one first. Yes, he has shown up in games. He has splashes. He's flashing in games. Zadarius, I think, not so much for the production thus far. Like he has some games here and there, but it has not been a complete like terrorizing offenses. I love what he's done as far as coming in and creating a Bash Brother type of feel with Daniil Hunter. I think Daniil Hunter, one, coming off injuries, missing seasons, missing Everson Griffin. It felt like for a while, Danielle Hunter, we were always like, who's going to be the other DN? Is it going to be DJ Wanham? Is it going to be, this next guy they draft? Who is it going to be? Well, Zadarius Smith comes in and creates an automatic bond with Danielle Hunter. And meet me at the QB 2.0. They got dances together. They got handshakes. They're hanging out in practice. They're doing interviews together on the sidelines during preseason. They're interrupting each other post-game interviews. So I think from just like coming in and not being because sometimes, man, bringing free agents into locker rooms is not always the easiest thing to do. Like it's because some teams already have a culture. They already have cliques in their locker room. Zadarius came in and fit right away. Like you can even see like his childlike giddiness when those questions come up for Vikings Entertainment Network when they try to stump the players. Like he's right there with the guys trying to answer. He's right there trying to help stuff out. Him and Danielle Hunter are always trying to like do stuff. Like it's never like he's a locker room guy that like put his hoodie on and sits in his locker and I'm not talking to the rest of the team. Like this guy has been open to it all, telling jokes, with what's his name? Brian Robinson doing 96. I mean, so I think those pickups were very healthy. Channing Sullivan. The fact that we haven't talked, because Mackenzie Alexander used to get a lot of talk, at the nickel. Like, oh man, here's where he could have got better. We haven't said much besides guys playing solid. He's always there. He's not getting beat. He's doing his job. Like, again, the nickel is like a kicker. The less we talk about him, that just means he's doing his job. Like, we're not bringing it because the starting corners usually, they get the bulk of it and they get all the celebration. The nickel usually gets oh, man, they went 3 wide and then these guys get, like, he's destroyed. He's in space. Guy in the middle field is wide open. No. Channing Sullivan's been making play after play. So, yeah. You gotta tip your hat off to Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell and them bringing there. And let's not forget Mike Pettin was a big part of this too. Him and Donatello kind of say, hey, here's some guys that we want. They got 2 Packers guys to come over. Mike Pettin was a huge piece of that. And so I think, again, as they grow together and they start to learn these pieces and where these guys can fit, got a guy from Buffalo and Harrison Phillips, they're doing their jobs.
Let me ask you a question, and I hope that I'm stating it correctly, just because it popped in my head from Lieber's conversation with Kevin O'Connell, which if you missed it, you'll be able to podcast it with the free iHeartRadio app, exclusive Vikings station. Of course, it is the exclusive KFAN postgame interview. We get KOC before the media gets KOC, and it's kind of cool. He was talking about, as it pertains to the run game, defensively, that making the switch from a single high safety to 2 deep and or split safeties. Can you tell me exactly what that does in relation to the run game?
You mean for him running the ball? For the offense to run the ball. Yeah, so when you have single high, if you count, that means there's only 3 DBs out there. There's 2 corners and a single high safety. The other safety is in the box. So if you're counting the box count, there's 8 guys in the box now because the strong safety is down. If he's not already in the box, he's really close. And we've seen Harrison Smith do that for people that are trying to understand it. He kind of creeps up and then he fires. He goes. Or Channing Sullivan, I think it was the Lions play he broke up on 4th down. He kind of shot that gap. Or Cam Bynum, shot that gap.
It was Cam, yeah.
So Cam Bynum walked up to the box. So when the safety walks up into the box, and Peyton Manning, if you watch the Manning cast, you probably saw him do it where he did the whole wristband can, which means trash can. Let's throw the play away. Let's start over. Do something else. He's canning the play because there is 8 in the box. Well, when you go single or split safety or 2 high, now it's just simple math. It's 7 guys in the box because there's 2 corners and 2 safeties away from the run support. If you got 5 offensive linemen, you got your quarterback to account maybe for 1 if he does the fake handoff. And that's why quarterbacks, people think it's stupid. Like, why is the quarterback handing the ball off and then running off to his right? He's always trying to give a play action look so that the 1 extra linebacker has to hesitate. Or
just
DN,
0.2 seconds.
Yeah, that DN has to hesitate. Like, does the quarterback have it? Nope, running back has it. And sometimes he fires, quarterback still has it, and that's why you see guys walk into the end zone because nobody's accounted for the quarterback, and that's why they have to continue. Like, they practice. That's actually a drill the quarterbacks do every day. They hand it off, and then they run, and they work on that. So when you go too high, he's just like, look, count. I got 7 guys in the box. How many blockers to your right? How many blockers to your left? Take the nose, point out the mic. Mike's the center's guy. And now count every other guy. If whatever way is better to run it that way. And that's all he's saying. He's saying when there's a 2 high look, it's easier for me to run because I can have an easier count. With 1 high, it's 8, and now I have to kind of figure out, well, is the safety really down here to help, or is he just trying to screw with us? And that's all it is. It's just math. I mean, it's simple math for quarterbacks to just count and say, okay. And again, that's why when people would say, Kirk, there was 8 in the box. Why the hell did you run the ball? And what would Kirk always say? It's not mine to change. It wasn't his to change.
Right.
He couldn't can the play. He couldn't can, and then run something
but
else.
But now he can.
Sunday. And then he hikes the ball. And then we're like, why the hell are they running the ball that way? There's 5 guys over there, and he only has 4 blockers. But now he can, or whatever. I don't know what their trigger word is. And he can do a different play. So I think that's what Kevin O'Connell's getting at. Like, hey, I'm letting Kirk Cousins see the single high versus 2 high, and you pick. If you want to run the ball in this, run it. I'm going to trust you. If you screw up, now we're going to talk about it.
Well, and part of it, because early on, and I think the frame of it again, just trying to remember back to it, was that they were playing a lot of single high early.
Correct.
Like it looked like the Bears, who had conceded $183 a game on the ground.
They were the worst run defense in the league.
They're like, we don't want to do this today.
Dalvin's not going to beat us.
Correct. We're not letting Dalvin do this. So then the obvious retort on KOC's side of the field is, okay, well, we got number 18, so we're gonna shove him up to you know where, and he's gonna dominate you. So then they switched to the 2 high, and then in the second half we started to see more ground being gained with Dalvin Cook.
And Alexander Mattison was doing pretty decent on the ground as well. But you have to think about it. A lot of defensive coordinators still don't respect Kirk Cousins. They would rather Kirk Cousins try to beat them than Dalvin Cook.
Well, they haven't seen him wear the chain yet.
He hasn't. Yep, exactly.
Check out the chain.
Chain hang low, Kurt.
Let me do one more talk back here, and this is in relation to Cam Dantzler. You've heard the highlight several times. It was the game-sealing strip that he put on former Viking Amir Smith-Marset. But talkbacks, courtesy of the free iHeartRadio app. Somebody wanted to chime in on Cam. Let's hear that talkback.
Hey guys. I don't know who you guys have as player of the game, but it's got to be Cam Dantzler. Aside from the rip at the end of the game, he also had the big-time flop for us that negated that Justin Fields touchdown. What do you think?
Well, that's true, actually. I believe he was the one that was blocked in the back by Amir earlier in the game.
Great acting job, yeah.
For me, in the end, I would say it was JJ would be the player of the game. But I will step back and maybe from a more 10,000-foot view. The biggest issue with Cam coming into this season is we didn't want him to start. Like, just as a Vikings fan, as soon as Andrew Booth's name was announced in the second round,
he was there's
our guy.
Yep.
God bless you, Cam. But whatever the hell you did to, with the Amon-Ra St. Brown play last year at Ford Field and the Lions get their first win, what you did or didn't do in covering DK Metcalf on a 4th and 10 2 years ago as a rookie, the bright lights seem to make Cam Dantzler wilt.
Yeah.
And so, and then even now through 5 games, I would say there are certain inadequacies that make me scratch my head. And it was the Quez Watkins touchdown in the Philly game. It sounds like that was Cam's responsibility in the Philly game. It looks like they decided for one reason or another to maybe have Cam take a break. And Caleb Evans got extended run in that game as well at Philly, albeit an ass-kicking of a loss. Totally sucks. But maybe we'll see him in January and change that script. But Cam Dantzler overall, the open field tackling's badass. His coverage isn't awful. He's been caught chasing guys across the field, but not many people can win that battle anyway. Overall, and then the playmaking that he had today and over the last couple of weeks, Cam's growing. And it can be frustrating, but just we can all accept, regardless of any past transgressions, that Cam Dantzler is getting better. And certainly is part of the reason we won today.
Yeah, and I talked about this earlier, I think. It was either you or Corey Cole, but he got the number 3 back. When you put that number on sometimes, that's a huge swagger change as well. Like, I think he said, he's like, man, I kind of feel like me again. Like, he's playing like the needle from college. Like, he's playing with confidence. He's playing with swagger. He's not playing like he's going to get yanked like he's on some talent show and somebody's waiting with a cane to yank him off the stage the minute he makes a mistake, or somebody's going to belittle him or berate him every time he, messes one coverage up. He's playing loose, carefree. He's like, look, I have a little bit of room to make a mistake, but at the most of the time, it's a simple coverage. I'm not having to figure out 15 different things to figure out what coverage I'm in. There's not a ton of you don't see a ton of looking around even when they're in bunch. Like when they go nasty splits or they're in bunch, you see a quick conversation like, look, I'm high, you low, you're out, I'm in. Boom, done, let's go. Like, it's not a lot of, well, if he goes up high and then inside, that's your guy. But if he goes outside and low and in, then that's my guy. And if there's not a ton of that. They've simplified this defensive back coverage, it looks like, from just the conversations, from what Cam Bynum said to me. Same thing. He's like, look, it's not a ton to it. It's pretty basic, but what we're doing is we're not going to show it. We're trying to disguise it until the snap. And I think that's helping Cam Bynum too, because he's playing off, and then you'll see him come up and play cover 2. You'll see him play bunch or press, and then he's running out of there to play cover 4. Like, his coverages clearly are simpler, and he's learning, but he's also a third-year guy. But he's a third year wearing that number 3. It's the thing of threes, man. It comes in him.
What was your number in college again?
Same as Robbie Anderson's, who just dropped this ball, but number 3. Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I think that's Robbie Anderson, isn't it?
Your analysis is quite biased, quite obvious.
Just saying, he put the 3 on and
changes
like Superman.
Changes everything. You wear the 3 under your suit when you're working?
I should do that one day, just rip off the suit and have the 3 on camera for just Vikings game day. You gave me
just
something
a thought.
to do.
Just a thought. That's Ron Johnson. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. Another segment of FanLine right around the corner as we wrap this thing up and put a bow on at least this edition of FanLine, this edition of Vikings football with the 29-22 victory at U.S. Bank Stadium over the Bears today. But fear not, we are not done. We'll be with you until 6:30 p.m. overall as Meat Sauce is going to jump in here. We're going to do Vikings overtime, leading you up to Sunday Night Football. Whether it's 800-320-5326 or with the Talkback feature on the free iHeartRadio app, the microphone, best 30 seconds, and we'll put you on the air. Chime in if you care to. Otherwise, another segment of Vikings FanLine around the corner on the Fan Radio Network.
Eric is a 13-year member of LIUNA, the Construction Laborers Union.
Yeah, I've been blessed to work on great projects that have truly impacted Minnesotans, like stadiums, public buildings, transit, residential high-rises, and hospitals. The work we do at LIUNA makes a difference for our communities, and I'm all about being a team player. As a union member, I earn great pay and benefits, including pension, health care, and free training throughout my career so I can keep broadening my skills. I'm proud to be a part of LIUNA and the opportunities presented to me in the construction trades.
Visit buildthenorth.org.
They say everyone has a story to tell. Well, no one tells stories better than Audible. It's the home of living your best life, intriguing true crimes, and celebrities you love like John Hamm, Kerry Washington, and Kevin Hart. It's the home of new worlds, old worlds, and ways to make a better world. Audible, the home of storytelling. Audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Start a free trial at audible.com.
Hey, Minnesota fans, it's Paul Allen. Know what the legendary Purple People Eaters and TimberTech Decking have in common? A dominating defense. TimberTech has the durability to hold up against Minnesota weather for decades. Not only will it not rot, warp, or splinter like conventional wood, but it looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And with up to a 50-year warranty, you're protected season after season. Order free samples at TimberTech.com to see the boards for yourself. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
As a Shane Company jewelry consultant, I see so many customers who have struggled to find a wedding band at other stores. When they come to Shane Company, they find the one. Not only do we have the widest selection of unique wedding bands, we are also experts at helping you find the perfect band to complement your engagement ring. Even if it's an heirloom ring. You can play around with stacking bands, try contour bands, or just go with something simple. There are so many options. We also have handsome men's bands, hundreds of styles to choose from in every price range. You might have no idea what you want, but we'll take the time to show you different metal types, fits, and styles. You can even build your own with our online tool. And we offer a free lifetime warranty. Come see us and we'll help you both find a band that you love wearing every day. For some helpful tips, check out our online wedding band guide.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Hey, it's Guardsy. Is your fantasy season already in the tank? What if I said you could be a fantasy winner this week and win more easily than DFS and more quickly than your season-long league? It's called Stat Hero, and it's the most winnable way to get in on some sports action. Winning 2 to 4 times more often. You won't find a better shot at winning consistently than Stat Hero. Stat Hero creates contests that focus on the player lineups, not Vegas lines. Download and play today at StatHero.com. Use the promo code JustinKFAN for a 100% deposit match. Stat Hero, where winning isn't a fantasy. See site for details. Terms and conditions apply.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
Chris Hockey here. What makes windows from builders and remodelers better? Well, one key is air infiltration. Basically, how much a window leaks air. Typically, windows from the other guys allow outside hot or outside cold air to leak in and refill a typical bedroom about twice a day. That's one window in one bedroom. My airtight Elements windows limit that outside heat or cold to refilling your bedroom only one time per week. And for a limited time, get a beautiful new front entry door free with any windows, siding, or roofing project from buildersandremodelers.com. Nobody does it better.
Your home for all things purple.
Always hit and he's sacked.
FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Cousins on a sneak. And no signal.
God, he is in.
No signal.
Seriously.
What are we doing?
Yes.
Touchdown! Kirk on the sneak for a rushing touchdown. And the Vikings have taken a 27-22 lead.
Welcome back. Final segment of Vikings FANLine. 29-22 is the final. And the Vikings are now 4-1, and they get to chill for the rest of today, and then they're back at it as they embark on a journey to South Beach to beat Skylar Thompson or whoever the hell's playing quarterback for the Miami Dolphins right now. Teddy left the game earlier in the beatdown at the hands of the Jets. Tua still trying to work his way back from his concussion issues, but that touchdown that you heard there, you know what that is? That is your local Chevy dealer's drive of the game. It was a 17-play, 7-minute-long backbreaker, culminating with Kirk Cousins and his first rushing touchdown of the season. Basically gets one a year these days. But that was the killer right there. The Vikings down 22-21. They take the lead. The 2-point conversion works to Jefferson, and that helps you get that final score. And Ron Johnson in here, of course. You've been listening to him over the last 90-ish minutes. But Meat Sauce Paul Lambert now in studio. How was the stadium today? How was the radio booth? How was the food, most importantly? But the team won. What was the vibe like, homie?
Man, it was all great. The start of the game was incredible because we thought, as we talked all week, us on the power trip, you with PA, and Lieber, of course, and Rosie are saying, like, maybe this is the game where they put it all together. And it looked like this was going to, like, at one point I was going, I think we might see Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
Like, we might see Mullins play. The Bears in the first half looked like a team that had traveled to London yesterday and gotten back today. They were just awful. But then they just kind of let them back in the game. What did they score? 19 unanswered points to get
Something
back
like
into
that,
it?
yeah.
But, the Vikings did what they had to do. They marched down the field. They scored, as you just said, that 17-yard or 17-play, 75-yard drive, ending in that 1-yard touchdown plunge, was exactly what they needed to do. Now, the Bears are a bad team, but, they're still 4-1, and they have a chance next week to possibly play a third-string quarterback, a 7th-round pick, who, if a lot of people, Miami thought he'd never see the field, maybe ever with the team, and he had to play the game today because Teddy got knocked out. But, man, the first half was great. The second half lull when they started to march back and there were, like, the weird bits and the holding penalty on the punt that went, like, 25 yards. The whole thing got weird. But when they need to come back and they need to put a drive together, it was great. I mean, Cousins, 17 straight completions? It was a perfect first half for our guy Kirk, and the first quarter he was on fire. But, they let the team back. But so far, they're 4-1, and they have some weird close wins that shouldn't have been close at all.
There's something weird about this, Ron, where, with this defense, and this is going to be the common theme probably moving forward until something gets markedly better, where every week there's going to be a talker in relation to the defense.
Yep.
And you had to have felt this as a player where you're sitting on the bench and the defense is on the field, where I feel helpless at times watching my favorite team. Not only can I not impact the game, I'm just emotional and I like to tweet stupid things. But for a team that is 27th in yards, yet 13th in points allowed as a defense, just kind of an interesting lack of balance there. Where there are times, and we saw it today, man, and as Saucy mentioned it during the comeback, you're just watching Cole Kmet, who had like 4 catches all year, finding his way up a seam to move the chains. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. And, Mooney's very, very talented and has the opportunity to break out at any point in time. But whether it's Amir Smith-Marset or some of these other guys that were making plays today, and I'm completely blanking on the guy's name. Who the hell was it? Equanimous St. Brown. There's another example.
Yep.
You just kept finding these guys. 7 yards here, 8 yards there. And it's great that they ended in field goals instead of touchdowns for the most part. But did you ever just feel helpless where you're standing there on your feet on the field and you're watching that defense and you're like, my God, like just create a turnover, sack him. It's okay to have a tackle for loss. It's okay to not allow chunks of yards at 6, 7, and 8 yards a clip. And there's just this helpless feeling watching that defense do its thing.
Yeah, I mean, playing with Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, I'd say no, and Terrell Suggs. But yeah, definitely in college. I mean, there were definitely times where, we were back and forth. I mean, playing Purdue, we were in games, I think it was like Drew Brees hit us up for like 400-something yards. So, yeah, and I mean, it's like 48-46, and you're like, golly, how many times do we have to go back out here and try to score against this team? And then same thing, and I forgot the quarterback. I don't know if it was Kyle Orton, but same thing. We score, then they score, we score, then they have a game-winning, 80-yard drive to kick a field goal with 10 seconds left, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, there's definitely times of that. But at the end of the day, looking back on it, it was never man, I'm sick of these dudes. Like, you understand there's going to be times where their offense is going to be, like we said the second, third quarter. Like you brought this up and I looked it up. You look at yards to go. In the first quarter, the Vikings are averaging 7.6 yards to go. They're 6.7 yards to go, which is 30 NFL in second down. By third quarter, 8.7 yards to go. That's 32nd. And it's not a huge jump. It's only about 2 yards, but that 2 yards
means
is
a
the
lot.
difference, right? In 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. So
it's not a Dalvin plunge.
And then
4th
fourth down
now
is just
a
as bad. It's 9.1 yards in fourth down. Or fourth quarter, sorry. And that's 30th in the NFL. So, again, they're having great first and second quarters. Third and fourth quarter is the lull that Meets Us talks about in that third quarter. So it's just got to come, though. Like, the offense has to help out the defense. It's both sides of it. But yeah, the defense I think it's going to come along. But no, I definitely know. And Kirk Cousins is not a vindictive or venomous type of person, so he's super positive. So I know every time this defense bends, he's like, "Hey, we got this, man. I got you guys."
Yeah,
like and I think that's the positive of he's not a throw the iPad or the Microsoft Surface guy. Like he's not that kind of guy. He's not going to point fingers and call guys out. Like he is a collaborative QB. So you can say what you want about him. But I think that's another positive to this team. Like, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get the sound bite from him saying the defense is not getting off the field enough.
Sure. The Vikings played in 14 one-score games a year ago. And I don't know if that's an NFL record, but that's a hell of a lot of them. They were 6-8 in those games last year. So far, 3-0. Yeah. So we like that aspect of it.
There was some other stat, too, Fox had on the broadcast about that, like being in, like, last minute to drive. They were 1-3 last year to this point. Now they're 3-1. So, yeah.
There we go.
And now they're 4-1.
Correct. So we like that. Thanks to our local Chevy dealers for providing us with the drive of the game. Thanks to Kirk Cousins, I should say, as well, for providing us with the drive of the game. Let's hit a talkback here. Connor from Minneapolis. Now, this isn't Bears fan line. It's Vikings fan line, but they're in the division. And he's got a question about Justin Fields.
Hey, guys. This is Connor in Minneapolis. I appreciate you both today. I just wanted to ask, and I'm sorry if you've gotten to it already, kind of what you guys think about Justin Fields going forward on the Bears there. He did have a couple real nice throws today, like the one that Harry broke up in the end zone, and it's about as slippery as I've seen him look. Yeah, just wanted to know what you guys think about him going forward. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Connor. We're going to answer that in about 2 seconds, but I did get a text from Fargo Flash asking that, is Ron really ripping Gopher defenses? So you got a bridge to mend there, Ron.
That's from 1999 and 2000. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Hey, Justin Fields, and just looking at the stat line, coming into this game, he was averaging 117 passing yards, 30 or so rushing yards. He outdid both of those season averages, 15 to 21. This is one thing that frustrates me too with the bending and don't break. Justin Fields, 70% completions today, 15 to 21. Don't like that. 9.9 a clip. Had that deep one right out of the gates, 30 yards to Montgomery. As a matter of fact, he was 3 of 8 at half, Ron, and 2 of his passes were 30 to Montgomery and like 39 to Darnell Mooney. Excuse me. But Justin Fields, these sorts of numbers, the 208 yards passing, 47 yards rushing, led the team. No surprise there in this particular case. But those aren't winning numbers in the long term. And, Eberflus has to get a lot of things better on this team that really is starting over from a talent perspective. But they're going to have a massive decision to make on Justin Fields sooner than later. And thus far, even with a couple of moments today, I would say that Justin Fields is not near where you'd want him to be in terms of a potential franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at 3rd and 7+, Justin Fields, 75% completion percentage on 3rd and 7+. So 3rd and long, he's been good, but there's the problem. He's not just completing where he's supposed to. He's just taking the open guy and not converting. His conversions are 18.5%, which is the worst in the NFC North. So, yeah, he's completing 75% of those, but he's dropping them off at the 2 yards short or 3 yards short of the first down. Now, is that play design by Eberflus, or is this Justin Fields not understanding the offense? Justin Fields with Ohio State looked really good. I'd be interested to see Ryan Day take over the Bears and see what this Bears offense would look like if Ryan Day would leave Ohio State and come to the Bears. I feel like it would be a more sophisticated offense because you look at the Ohio State offense now, it is awesome. And that's the thing. Is it Marvin Harrison Jr. and these receivers at Ohio State, or is it C.J. Stroud? Like, Ohio State quarterbacks have never really done anything in the NFL, and that's what everybody keeps asking now is, like, is Justin Fields going to hurt C.J. Stroud's draft spot? Because he's like, look, you did exactly what this kid did. You look at Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace. Same thing, like, did great, but then got to the NFL and you couldn't figure it out. So when you look at these Ohio State guys, is it the school they come from, or is it the actual? Because Alabama, we tried to say that, but Tua is good, Mac Jones is good, Jalen Hurts is good. I think this kid coming out is going to be good.
Well, let's chill on Mac Jones being good just yet, okay?
He's getting it done.
Yeah, we'll see.
He does it.
Well, it's Bailey Zappi right now. It's his twin. Saucy, before we wrap it up, and then actually we essentially just switch chairs and do overtime. So, theater of the mind, I suppose, on the radio. The way that Dalvin Cook ran today, one of the bigger question marks so far through 4 games was, what's up with his run game? What's up with Dalvin? Had the shoulder bit a couple of weeks ago. Is that hindering him? Is he truly healthy? Has he lost his step? All of those things. Jeff Wilson into the end zone for the Niners, and Sauce is apoplectic. Charge Challenge-related bits on the Power Trip Morning Show. But with what you saw out of Dalvin today with the 18 carries, 5.2 yards a clip, was that something that maybe kind of solved some of those thoughts or questions or queries about Dalvin now that we're through things with his 94 and a couple of scores?
I thought it was the best we've seen of him so far. I thought the offensive line played incredibly well, and that helped. But you saw the Dalvin that we've been watching for a long time, where he gets to that corner and he looks for that corner, and once he gets there, he's pretty hard to catch. He was tripped up a couple of times, or he might have had well over 100 yards, but. Man, this offense, when they put that thing together, they're dynamic.
Isn't that the weirdest thing about this? Where Dalvin, I don't know how many runs he had today. So the long for him on the season, 16. He had but he had more than one. I'd say he probably had 3 or 4 triple-digit runs today, and a couple that were 15. Yeah, and it's just like it's so damn close. Where's the 60-yard blow-up run? You know what I mean? It's so frustrating because it's right there, and we just haven't been able to see it yet. Thanks for hanging out with me, Sauce.
Yeah, man. We'll switch chairs soon.
You want to do another hour?
I'm in. Yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah. Vikings overtime around the corner. Thanks for all you do, Ron.
It was off. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad you showed up because Corey sure didn't.
Yeah, no kidding, right? That's Ron Johnson. I'm Eric Nordquist from 9 to noon. Vikings FANLine will be back next Sunday after hopefully the Vikings go down to South Beach, get that victory. Thanks so much to Brandon Molesky. Thanks to Max Fuller, who's going to be sticking around and producing not only FANLine, but Vikings overtime around the corner. Again, 29-22 is the final. Vikings now 4-1. And for those of you, pregame next Sunday, 10 a.m. on the flagship, 100.3 FM, The Fan. Vikings Radio Network joins us at 11. And then the boom, as PA would say, shortly after noon down in South Beach, the Vikings facing the 2-3 Miami Dolphins. Again, stick around. More fodder. Vikings Overtime with Saucy is next. Thank you so much for listening to Vikings FANLine on KFAN and the Greater Fan Radio Network. Cheers.
The temps are dropping, and Shields is ready to maximize your hunting experiences by shopping the Shields Hunting Sale event.